Okay, so first one says actually I'm going to use a pencil for this because I'm going to be doing some erasing. If segment AC right here is congruent to AD, name two congruent angles. Okay, if the angles opposite the congruent sides have to be congruent. So it would be this angle, and to name it, I'm going to say ACD is congruent to ADC. For the next one, BE is congruent to BC. What are the congruent angles? It would be this angle and this angle. So angle BEC is congruent to angle BCE. Okay, next it says if angle EBA, so this angle here, is congruent to EAB, this angle, name two congruent segments. It's the sides opposite those congruent angles. So segment EB is congruent to segment EA. And then if angle CED, so this angle here, is congruent to CDE, this angle here, name two congruent segments. It would be this segment and this segment. Segment CE congruent to CD. I make it look easy when I'm drawing on the picture. When you're doing anything on a computer, testing-wise, it gets a little bit harder. If you're ever not sure, always write it down and mark on it, and then it's usually pretty easy to see what they're looking for. Number 5. Find each measure of ABC. So this angle here. Well, I do see an isosceles triangle because I have these two marks. That means the angles opposite here are congruent. So this angle must be congruent to the 60 degrees. So it is equal to 60 degrees. This isosceles is kind of sideways. I don't know if you noticed that. Number 6. Measure of angle EDF, this angle here. Shows isosceles with these two marks. That means these two angles have to be the same measure. So we're going to first subtract that vertex angle. We get 140 degrees. The 140 degrees has to be split evenly among those two angles, so 140 divided by 2 equals 70 degrees. So this equals 70 degrees. Number 7, it shows that these two angles are congruent based on the converse of the isosceles triangle theorem. That means these two sides have to be congruent. And to find x, we can set the expressions equal. 2x plus 4 equals 3x minus 10, and then we can solve for x. Equals 14. Number 8 shows isosceles triangle again. It also shows this 90-degree angle. 180 minus 90 would be 90, so these two angles have to add to 90 degrees. They are the same measure because it is isosceles, so 2x plus 3 plus 2x plus 3 equals 90. And we'll solve for x. We're going to skip the proof for now. We are going to do some problems on the back that are on the homework So, yep. You'll thank me when you see the homework. I ain't talking to you, Tori. I'm not talking to you. Okay, find the measure of KML. Well, it shows all three sides are the same measure, so therefore all three angles have to have the same measure, and this must be 60 degrees. So the measure of angle KML is 60 degrees. Make a little mark, 60 degrees. Then it wants to know the measure of HMG, this angle right here. Well, these three angles come together to make a straight line. So therefore, 60 plus 50 plus x equals 180, and we can solve for this angle here. 110 plus x equals 180. Equals 70. So this here is 70 degrees. Then it asks for the measure of GHM, this angle here. This is an isosceles triangle. This angle and this angle are the same measure because they're opposite the congruent sides. And then we can figure out this measure. So 70 plus 70 is 140. If we do 180 minus 140, we get 40 degrees. So this must be 40 degrees. Number 8. Oh, jeez. I'm going to have to erase some of my marks because it's getting crowded over here. HJM, this angle right here, saying 145 degrees. It's isosceles as well. These two angles are the same measure. It wants to know MHJ, this angle right here. Are you following me at this point or no? You lost. Okay. So you do 180 minus 145, and you'll get 35 degrees. And that has to be split evenly among those two angles, so 35 divided by 2 is 17.5 degrees. And here it's saying if measure of angle G, way over here, is 67 degrees, find GHM, this one right here. Well, if this is 67, this has to be 67 degrees. Then you can do 180 minus 67 to get the answer. And it comes out to 46 degrees. Number 10, we're not going to write this all out, but it is on the homework, so I'll tell you the concept. It shows two parallel lines here. It says that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. And it wants you to prove that this segment here is congruent to this segment here. Well, because these are parallel lines, this is a transversal, and so therefore you can say that angle 2 is equal to angle 3 because they're corresponding angles. And you can say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 4 because they're corresponding angles. Then you can say that 3 is equal to 4 because of transitive property, and that's what it's going to ask you on the homework. 3 is equal to 4 because of transitive property, and then you can prove that the bigger triangles is isosceles. And that would prove that this is equal to this. That's the gist. I'm not going to have you write that all out because I've already lost you at this point. 11, this one here, it says the vertex angle is 18 degrees. What are the base angles? 180 minus 18 is 162. 162 divided by 2 is 81 degrees. So each base angle is 81 degrees. What did you put for number 10? I put nothing. Okay, so now you can get your homework done. If you finish your homework early, Make sure you have yesterday's homework done and Khan Academy. Yes, good, Asia.